encourage your soul, enlighten your mind, and empower your faith. This is the Light Network. Welcome to Preachers in Training. My name is Robert Hatfield. This is the podcast on which we discuss all things preaching and ministry. We're coming to you today from Polishing the Pulpit in Sevierville, Tennessee. And I am joined here at the Light Network booth by Dean Thompson, who is what's your official title at the University Church of Christ in Charlotte, North Carolina?
Some might say jack of all trades.
Okay, chief cook and bottle washer at the University Church in Charlotte, North Carolina.
I don't mind getting my hands dirty, but officially I am one of the evangelists at university. My father-in-law, Ed DeBerry, he's one of the elders and co-evangelist, if you will. So
no pressure. Father-in-law, man.
Some might see it as intimidating working with your in-laws, but I've been involved with this family for over a decade, and we have a great relationship. And so probably 5 or so years ago, I said, hey man, I want to get involved in ministry. I want to go to Memphis School of Preaching. And he just was so elated. He was so supportive, right?
Good.
And so, we have a wonderful relationship. I'm so blessed to be involved.
He's a good guy. I think a lot of him.
Yeah, and just the DeBerrys in general, they're a wonderful family. So yeah,
Absolutely.
we're doing great at university. Have a great congregation, great opportunities in the neighborhood community to serve, and so I'm loving it. My wife grew up there. Okay. And I was baptized there in 2014, May of 2014, at the last Sunday of May, and so been working there ever since.
So you've got a wonderful relationship with the congregation there, even outside of your ministry there, which is really cool.
Yeah, and when the elders gave me the opportunity, go to the Memphis School of Preaching, I did online classes, the most program, and now they're paying my way. Freed Hardeman doing graduate studies as well, Master of New Testament.
What a blessing that is!
Really encouraging that they have supported me, and the members. They have somebody from the inside that will soon step into that main minister role, and the elders are prepping me for that. To be good. That, and it's very encouraging, right? To have that,
and you sort of get to operate inside of more or less a controlled environment. I mean, I don't mean that to say you're not doing real ministry, because I know you very much are. Yeah. But you have your father-in-law. He's been in the trenches a while.
Been there.
He also serves as one of the elders. That's fantastic.
And it's great to have that sounding board, right? Because I have access to one of our shepherds, and he shares things appropriately, right?
Good.
And they gave me the opportunity, right, to sit in on their elders meetings. We now have elder and preachers meetings. Good. And because I was like, hey, I'm helping minister to these folks, and so it's good for me to sit with you guys and meet with you guys to talk about what are these people facing that we're serving, right? How can we better serve them? And so they're very supportive in that. And Ed, of course, being my father-in-law, also being one of our shepherds, he definitely is very encouraging and gives me more insights than some may have access to. And so it's really encouraging, man.
I'm so glad.
I really appreciate it.
That sounds like a wonderful opportunity and a healthy thing too. We could see that happening in unhealthy ways, but it's nice to hear it happening in a healthy way. That's a good thing,
man. I'm telling you, not everybody has this opportunity, and I pray that every congregation can cultivate an environment like that. It's definitely a unique one where, you're working side by side with the in-laws, and, I just say, hey, take full advantage of it.
Absolutely.
Right. Don't shy away from it. Just embrace it. And it can turn into a wonderful thing, in which it is. We haven't had any, fights yet, and I hope not, but, we're still good at Sunday dinners and all.
That's nice. So that's good to know.
It's wonderful. It's definitely
we're still good at Sunday dinners. I like that.
Yeah. We're not throwing side eyes at the table, you know.
No underhanded conversation.
No,
that's good.
And all of our elders and deacons, we all have a great relationship.
How many elders do y'all have?
We have 3 elders, with my father-in-law, Ed DeBerry, being one of them, and we have 4 deacons.
Good.
But we're about to install another elder and another deacon next month.
It's a big time.
Big time. It is. And it's just another thing that elders are showing. Hey, we got to pass the baton along because they're all approaching 70, right?
Okay.
And so they plan to sit down at some point, and so. And right now, they're like, okay, let's look at our transition. They've been doing this for a couple of years now.
Good.
And so it's really good to have that type of environment where they see, okay, we've got to look at these younger guys now. Right. Because we're not going to be. They don't want to be up there for forever. You know, and so that's a good example as well. Say, hey, we got to really pass the baton down and help help these other guys.
Right. That's exciting.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You are the University Church of Christ in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yes, I know there's a lot of universities.
Well, there are, but University Church of Christ implies that you have a close proximity to a university. Tell us about that.
Yes, so we are literally about 10 minutes away from UNCC Charlotte, University of North Carolina at Charlotte, which boasts about 30,000 plus students or so.
Oh,
and we
wow.
actually have some students.
30,000.
Yeah, it's a lot. And we also have, Johnson C. Smith there, which is about 20 minutes down the road. We have Central Piedmont Community College. So, we're in a hotbed of just universities and stuff like that. So we have a great opportunity to reach, students from these different colleges. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's great. But, that's definitely exciting. UNCC is the closest one.
Good. Mm-hmm. We're talking today about ministering to young adults, and that was the primary reason why I raised that, the proximity and the fact that you're called the University Church of Christ, right? Because you're dealing with a lot of young people. Of course, the Charlotte area is a huge area, 2.3 million people or so in the general area. Yeah. Charlotte, if you're familiar with like Nashville, Tennessee, and this happens with a lot of, metropolitan areas, they tend to swallow up the areas around them. And that's what we've got going on in the Charlotte area now. And it's just a really exciting area. There's a lot of great opportunity in that area.
It really is, yeah.
And this is one of the topics, though, that a lot of people are struggling with because there's a lot of misconceptions about millennials. And even, millennials are now getting into, they're not the college-age people anymore. No. Now we're talking about Gen Z, and there are unique opportunities, we'll put them that way, challenges, opportunities in ministering to young adults. You've been involved with this a lot and even been speaking here at PTP about it this year and last, right? Yeah.
Last year we talked about, Ed and I, we talked about how to build a young adult ministry and this year, or vibrant young adult ministry, and this year I talked about how to keep a young adult ministry vibrant.
Good.
It was just a continuation of that the lesson from last year, and the feedback that we've got from people have been very encouraging.
Good.
A lot of folks, like you said, it's been top of mind for people, and some people are just struggling. Like, how do we reach this demographic? But I'm telling you, they're not aliens. Excuse, for lack of a better term, right? We definitely have a great opportunity to reach them. And I read a quote from Mark DeVries and Scott Pondier from Sustainable Young Adult Ministry, Making It Work, Making It Last. And I read this book while I was on a plane a few months ago.
Oh, cool.
And a few chapters, I read it all the way through. It was so engaging. But one of the things they said is, if we miss out on reaching this generation, we'll miss out on the opportunity of a lifetime.
Right.
A church like yours can seize this specific moment in history and pass the baton to the next generation by working a deliberate, sustainable process where the gospel flourishes among young adults. So we have a huge opportunity, right? And I think the onus is on us to, make sure that we take every chance to, cash in on this opportunity.
Good.
Young adults abound. And we're like, okay, how can we keep them engaged? How can we keep them grounded in Jesus?
Are they interested, young adults? We're talking broad brushes, right? But there are young adults out there who are interested in the gospel, right?
Absolutely. I have the wonderful opportunity to serve as, one of our Bible class teachers and for young adults and our college students as well. And, I'm out there and community events, engaging with them on a deeper level, right? And we talk about some things like how can we help you stay rooted in Jesus, and they bring to us their concerns and talk about, okay, how can you approach this subject that I'm dealing with from a biblical perspective, and we try to answer those things, right? I mean, they're generally invested in wanting to grow and wanting to stay closer to Jesus. But one thing that really has been, kind of the, general theme is that, hey, we want something that is real. We want some sustenance. We want substance.
Interesting.
We want substance, right? And I think what a lot of young adults have been struggling with is that they didn't see that substance from their parents, right? And in the church in general, right? And I think a lot of young adults that who have left the church, kind of have been dealing with hypocrisy,
right.
and they're still dealing with, okay, how do we get over that, right? You say that we're the salt of the earth and the light of the world, but yet you're acting a totally different way, right? Than what you're preaching and what you're teaching. I don't see that at home. So, we have to combat that, right? And we try to deal with it gently and answer from a biblical perspective, and show them, hey, this is how Jesus would approach the situation, and we want to show you Jesus. We want to show you the Christ in us. So,
good.
It's definitely a great opportunity.
Yeah, authenticity is important to this generation, young adults. Integrity, all those things that you're saying are so important to them. They want to know that we're legit, right? That we're the real thing. And perception is not always reality. That is to say, sometimes young adults, young people who are coming into adulthood, you have to mature, right?
Yes.
You have to grow.
Yes.
At the same time, though, a marketer might tell us, well, perception is reality.
Yeah.
And we need to go out of our way to the best of our ability to help them to know that we are trying to live for Jesus and like Jesus. That fine balance between letting your light shine but giving God the glory.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
You don't hide your light for the sake of trying to avoid seeming arrogant, but at the same time, there's a hard balance to strike there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. And when you talk about those things and try to show, the young adults, right, or anybody that you might be ministering to, it can be hard. Like you said, it can be a hard balance to strike. But I think the key is having the effort, putting the effort in, right? And young adults, they, particularly the ones that I minister to, they want to see that, hey, we're at least putting the effort in, right? It's just not all about lip service.
Okay.
Hey, we're talking about being the salt of the earth and the light of the world, okay, but hey, now let's go out and prove it. We do a bunch of community service type of things where we might go to Goodwill. I'm a huge proponent of Goodwill.
Yes.
But, hey, look, they say one man's trash is another man's treasure.
I understand that. And, I like Goodwill.
Oh, man, I love it.
Yeah.
And then you have Restore, where they have the furniture place that we can go and try to organize the furniture and throw old things away, and that's showing people a few things, right? Yeah. Hey, these are some great people at university, and we're not just trying to show them that, right? But we're also trying to show them, just the people in the community, that we are Christians. And this is just what we do, right? This is who we are. And we're trying to show you the Christ in us. And I think, hey, the more that we cultivate that kind of environment, hey, the longer that your young adults may stick around, and that will continue to build that spirituality, build their faith, right? Give them opportunities to build their faith. And also will show the community that there's something different about those people. There's something special about them. And, whenever they might say that, we want to show them, hey, we're just trying to point you to God and give God the glory.
I love it.
That's it.
Let's talk about, you've got some points you want to make today about how we can sustain a ministry to young adults. I think we've encouraged, we've shown there's obviously a need for this. They are interested in this. What when we get down to the practicality of it, what do we need to talk about?
I know that there might be some out there, some preachers who are particularly highly invested in a young adult ministry, right? And so some of the things that I've been talking about here at PTP, which I love, I'm just going to pull put
about
a
that?
quick plug in.
It's a special week, isn't it?
Polishing the pulpit,
man.
Oh my gosh. They say that is the best reunion on this side of heaven. I'm telling you, man.
Yeah.
I love everyone who's just put this together, and the fellowship.
Right.
The sessions are great, but the fellowship, sitting beside you, man, and just
it's
talking to other, it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
So
we never really get to see each other outside of something like this.
No, man. I mean, I see you all the time. Your wonderful face online, but
yikes.
But yeah, this is
nervous.
just amazing. I'm telling you. So if you're not here this year, I'm just going to tell you. PTP 2024, Lord willing.
Come on.
Please make it your make your best efforts to get here and come see Robert.
I don't know. Come for more reasons than that.
But no, some of the things that we talked about, how to keep a young adult ministry vibrant. Yeah. One of the things I said, hey, investigate, right? Whenever you are going through the ministry, start with some investigation because, the key is sustaining the ministry, right? You don't want to always be doing the same thing. What worked for you 2 years ago might not work for you now. Our world is constantly changing, you know, and we've seen that pre-pandemic versus post-pandemic, and I know a lot of congregations are struggling with this, right? With people who are mainly worshiping online, you haven't seen them back, right? But pre-pandemic, they were there. I mean, I've heard many sermons about trying to get people back into the building. I think you can say the same.
I've preached many of those sermons.
And as have I. But so you've seen that shift, right? Just in a few years. Right? And so our world is constantly changing. People are, especially young adults, right? All this information. Man, we are like in a generation with information overload, right? So you're getting bombarded with new information, new ideas, and things like that. And so, whenever you're conducting your investigation, you want to see, what areas of this ministry can be enhanced, right? What can we be doing better? And how you conduct that investigation is just going to the members that are in your ministry, and we conduct polls like on Google Forms, make it anonymous because some people do like that anonymity. And so, we do that and we can get more honest feedback that way, right? So we a couple years ago, we opened up a survey to our young adults. And one of the questions we asked was, well, what can the church do in the next 5 to 10 years to keep you rooted in the faith? And
that's a neat question.
It is. And one person said, allow me more opportunities to serve and teach. Right?
Okay.
And so we try to cultivate an environment where, some of our young adults are teaching Bible classes.
Right.
Some of our young adults are out in the front, are leading. And so praise be to God that we have a congregation that cultivates that kind of environment where, the young adults aren't just sitting on the sidelines. Right. So getting that feedback from them in your investigation is key to not have the ministry stay in neutral. You always want to move forward, right? Because I feel like sometimes the reason why some of our ministries fizzle out because people lose interest because you're continuing to do the same thing. So nothing wrong with doing some things that work, right? If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yes.
But what is broken we might have to, glue something here back together, or we might have to just replace it all together, know? And so SurveyMonkey is also a great one, right, to get the feedback, right? And so have those areas where you can, get that feedback. And when you do get that feedback, look at some other ways that you can, see how we can enhance this ministry. What we did at university when we were trying to get our college ministry together a few years ago in particular. We researched what other faithful congregations were doing. Okay. So I contacted another elder and we contacted Blacksburg Church of Christ. Okay. In Virginia, where Dean Meadows serves as a campus minister.
Oh, yeah.
They've had a college ministry for 50 years plus. And so, we talked to them and they gave us some good insights. And I also talked to the Woodlands Church of Christ in Silver, North Carolina, over there where Western Carolina University is. Okay. And their college ministry is called Catamounts for Christ, right? And so, one of the things that we did was, we had a few sessions with them and they gave us some good insights, and we try to implement some of those ideas into our own ministry, right? Because I don't believe in reinventing the wheel, right?
Right.
If other faithful congregations have been doing this and it's been working, then hey, why not tap into their knowledge base? It would be crazy not to.
It almost makes sense.
You know?
I mean, what are you talking about?
I know. There's no need to reinvent the wheel. And so,
well, and I love this notion too, what you're talking about of, like, we have an objective and we want to make sure that we're meeting that objective.
Exactly.
You know, it's not just, well, yeah, young adults need to be ministered to, so anything is good enough.
Yeah.
It's starting is better than not starting, but then make it focused.
Yes.
Hone it in. You know, try this, do that. It doesn't have to be perfect right out of the gate. And what may be in your mind's perfect, for lack of a better way of putting it, today may not be right on point 5 years from today.
Exactly.
So to modify within the bounds of Scripture, like you said, we want to be faithful to the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
We're not talking about being unfaithful to the Lord. We're just saying, okay, pivot. Like all things to all men kind of stuff.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. You know, how can I, you know, we want to be contextual in it, right? And you know, it's like, okay, how can we maybe change this narrative, change the situation, or to fit their context? Good, you know. And also, when it comes to investigation, another quote that I read from DeVries and Pontier from it was from Rachel Evans, CNN.com. She commented on young adult ministry in particular. She said, time and time again, the assumption among Christian leaders and evangelical leaders in particular is that the key to drawing 20-somethings back to church is simply, listen to this now, to make few style updates, edgier music, more casual services, a coffee shop in the fellowship hall, a preacher who wears skinny jeans. You ain't never going to see me wear some skinny jeans.
I'm not wearing skinny jeans either, my man.
Right.
It's not working.
An updated website that includes online giving. Nothing wrong with that, right?
Sure.
But what millennials really want, this is what I was alluding to earlier, what millennials really want from the church is not a change in style, but a change in substance. A change in substance.
Good.
You know? And so, like I said, it's showing that, hey, what we're talking about is real. Right. You know? It's not just, hey, I'm spewing these biblical facts, you know, and all those things, right? Telling you about who Jesus is, who God is. Right? Show me, right? Through your actions. Yeah. You know, Paul said, imitate me as I imitate Christ, you know, and we want to show people, hey, we are Christians, we are Christ followers, we are his disciples. So let's show them that.
I love it.
Young adults want that.
And this is exactly what we want as preachers, right? I mean, we're talking about, we want people who don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, but on the other side of that, who want to stay within the bounds of Scripture. Okay, well, this is the change that the millennials generation as a whole, survey results show, are looking for. Yep. So let's give it to them. That's good.
Absolutely.
All right, so investigate is number one.
Yes,
where do we go next?
Yes. Next, we have incorporate. Don't we preachers love alliteration?
I love this. This is good. This is perfect for us.
We've got investigate, and then we've got incorporate, right? And so one of the things that we want to do is always incorporate prayer into our ministry. Always. You start with prayer. You continue with prayer. You know, you end with prayer. You know, Paul said in Colossians chapter 4, verse 2, continue steadfastly in prayer, being watchful in it with thanksgiving. Yeah. You know, and we all know 1 Thessalonians 5:17, pray without ceasing. So we always want to have a posture of prayer. And why would we not want to pray for the success of the ministry, for the people that we're ministering to? You know, one of the things, go back to the college ministry again because it's so recent that we started. One of the ideas that we got from another congregation was to start a prayer group, you know, that just pray specifically for the college students and do prayer walks on UNCC's campus. Okay. So my wife and I and another college student who attends UNCC, she was a freshman at the time, but we went out there for a few months, and we just conducted prayer walks. We're meeting college students, say, hey, we're from University Church of Christ. We're just out here praying for the college students. What can we pray about for you? What can we be praying about for you, right? And so,
like you're just out there walking around and you're meeting other pedestrians.
And a lot of people, you know, they were very open, they were very welcoming because, you know, one of the things that a lot of people understand is, okay, prayer is real, all right? You hear all the time, right? we're there in our thoughts and prayers, whenever a bad situation occurs. So prayer is top of mind for a lot of people. It's definitely not something that's a stumbling block for real. Like, oh, wait, you talking about praying for me? Whoa.
Yeah.
Like, no. So,
back off. No.
Exactly. I don't want your prayers. What? No. So we've had people say things like, hey, please pray for my grandparents,
and they're carrying that around. It's just right there.
Exactly. So we had a Google Sheet, and also it gave us the opportunity to get their contacts, right?
Uh-huh.
And so I would ask them, hey, can we follow up with you in a few weeks' time and just see how you're doing, right? So I would get some of them gave us their emails, and that allowed, I'm going to talk about this later about a system, but that allowed us to build a database system of students to contact throughout the year. Just check up on, hey, we're having this event over at university. Oh, we would love for you to join us for worship, stuff like that. And some people, they responded, but prayer, starting with prayer. And when we had that prayer group, we had people from university be involved in that prayer group. So I would send people every other week an email saying, hey, these are a list of contacts that we made. Please pray for them in their specific situation. We got wonderful. It's a great way to get the congregation involved.
So you get them praying as well. Mm-hmm. Do you pray with those people right there on the sidewalk too?
Yes, absolutely.
And then you tell them you're going to keep praying, and then you follow up with them later.
Yes.
How does the response go when you follow up? Do you hear anything?
Yeah. A couple students in particular, said they really, really appreciated the opportunity. Right. And, I asked about one student in particular. Actually, these were twins that asked about prayers for their grandparents. And they responded saying, they were doing well and all, and they really appreciated the prayers. And so, it's not, hey, we're not trying to sell you anything.
Right.
We are genuinely concerned about what's going on in your life.
It's
right?
the old don't care how much you know until you know how much you care.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Oh man, I mean, we could talk for days about that.
Right.
Just in particular, man. You might need another podcast.
How long y'all got today? You willing to listen for the long haul?
I'm telling you, man. It's that's a wonderful topic. So prayer is another.
Incorporate prayer. I like that.
Incorporate prayer, and then incorporating your members' ideas. Right. Okay. So after you've done the investigation, incorporate their ideas if they're sound, if they make sense, right? If it's going to help the ministry grow, if it's going to help the congregation grow, incorporate those ideas. Young adults in particular, they love to be active and seek opportunities to grow and serve and things like that. And like I already mentioned, one of the surveys that we conducted a few years ago, one of the students said, one of the members said, hey, I want more opportunity to serve and teach, right? Mm-hmm. And in order to keep me rooted and grounded in faith, and thought, hey, they want to show their faith, they want to show just how much Christ, and I think that is such a wonderful thing, and it should remind us all, as Ephesians 2:18 says, that we've all been saved to serve. It's a great reminder for us all that we haven't been saved to sit, haven't been saved to wander, we haven't been saved to ponder. Right. Our purpose is service in this context. So as I mentioned to the people yesterday, and so when you have somebody who's saying, I want to get in the game, coach, I don't want to be on the sidelines, I don't want to be straddling the fence, try to find a way for them to, serve. Yeah. Or they might be looking down the street somewhere else. And that's unfortunate, but some people are just one step away. Yeah. Right, just one decision away from just walking out, and we don't like that. But sometimes we get offended, but it's like, okay, what could we have done? Yeah, and maybe it's just making a simple decision. Hey, give them the opportunity to serve. So you have incorporating ideas into the ministry. That's great. And then also we have incorporating a system. So I talked about how to incorporate such systems, like maybe you have a discipleship system or a mission system, evangelism system, a communication system, a database system. And what do I mean by that? Well, another quote from DeVries, they said, and Pontier, they said, the tens of thousands of churches across America struggling with young adult ministry seldom actually have a young adult problem. Your congregation might be thriving with young adults, your ministry, right? But they seldom have a young adult problem. Yeah. They have a systems problem. Oh, interesting. Too many churches have unexamined systems in place that actually repel and predictably disengage young adults. And so you might. Okay, now
that's interesting. Repel young adults.
Repel young adults, right? So you might say, hey, we have this vision, right? We have this vision for the ministry. Well, do you have a system in place to work towards that vision? And so, such as, hey, do you have a project manager? Say, oh, let's put these things in place. We're working towards this vision, or maybe a Gantt chart. It's one thing to say it that, hey, we have this vision, but it's another thing to actually work towards it. And young adults see that, right? We talked about, hey, they want that substance.
Right.
They see that. Or maybe, as I mentioned before, a database system. Do you have a database system where you have just your list of contacts, maybe of young adults who maybe have left the church, or they've placed membership somewhere else, right? Do you have a database system where you can easily contact them and follow up with them and things like that?
Right.
And a communication system. Our young adults in particular, we use GroupMe.
Okay.
Very popular app.
Yeah.
We've been using it for years. It's been very successful because in it, not only do we get to communicate about, just Bible class and homework and things like that, but also we can take polls, And so some of the polls that we do is like, hey, do you want to serve at this, this company, organization, or, do you want to go to Restore or Goodwill, bringing those up again at such and such time? And then, when we collect that feedback, we can be more organized and say, okay, we'll be meeting here at such and such time based on the feedback from most of you all. So having that communication system in place, just a good system in general, right, will definitely help, make the organization of the ministry just better.
Well, it makes it where you're not like, okay, I really need to communicate with everybody.
Yeah.
Let me find everybody's email address.
I know.
And like you're copying and pasting into an email or something. Yeah. That's the worst.
It is.
And people hate email anyway.
Yeah.
Don't email.
They do.
Some people need email, but know your audience, right? To your
exactly,
point, right?
Exactly. Man, some of the stats out there about just young adults in particular, right? I'm not picking on them, but young adults in particular, just, emails, or also just talking on the phone. We're text generation.
Send them a text message.
Send a text, and that's it. Like it's going to be rare. Yeah. Unless they're talking to their mom or dad or grandma, it's going to be rare to get them on the phone. And then you might get a good 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So, just know your audience.
Yeah. And don't leave them a voicemail. No. They're not going to listen to that.
They're not going to listen to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
But if you're talking about a text message that's not impersonal to them, like older generations, that's impersonal. It's not impersonal to call. I mean, the text and even send like an opportunity. Hey, do you want to do this?
Right.
They are all in about that.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly,
that's good stuff.
You got to know who it is that you're serving, right? Some people in there, in your ministry in particular, right? Some of your members, they might appreciate that phone call. Yeah. Right? But, everybody. Exactly. Yeah. That's it. That's what we really want. So having a system in place will definitely help you identify that and cash in on that opportunity.
I love it.
Yeah.
We're investigating. We're incorporating. All right, what's next?
We're imitating.
Imitating. I knew it was another I.
Yeah, we're imitating. Once again, alliteration. But what do we mean by imitating? Well, imitating Christ. Imitating, Paul said in 1 Corinthians 11:1, imitate me as I imitate Christ. He said in a couple of instances as well, imitate me, right? How can we imitate Christ as we're trying to keep a young adult ministry vibrant? And I would argue that this is something that we should be doing as a Christian and holistically in our Christian life, right? Imitating Christ in all that we do. Well, I said, hey, we can be firm but flexible like Christ. Firm but flexible. And what do I mean by that? So Jesus was firm, but he was flexible. He was firm in that he did not bend the truth, for no one or for nothing. But he was also flexible. Remember how he dealt with the woman in John 4, the Samaritan woman, right? Yeah. Even though this was a Samaritan woman from a Mongol mixed breed race, the Jews had no dealings with the Samaritans, right? As she would say, we know the history, but yet Jesus was open. He was willing to talk to her and give her, the water of life, show her salvation, and she said, I know the Messiah's coming. She said, woman, I'm that person that you're looking for.
Yeah, I'm in.
But yet even though he was flexible in that he was willing to talk to this woman that the Jews would not have, talked to, and even when his disciples came back, they're like, what in the world? You see their response is like, why are you talking to this woman? But yet he did not shy away from the truth.
Right.
He said, "Oh, I know how many husbands you have." You know, and
but he was patient with her.
Exactly. Oh, we're going to get to patience.
Oh,
in a
I'm
minute.
sorry.
Yeah, you're jumping ahead.
I don't mean it. I'm trying to read your note. No, I'm just kidding.
It's okay. It's okay. And so you got another instance where he was talking to the Canaanite woman, right, in Matthew 15, the Syrophoenician woman, and how he was willing to heal her daughter, right? But another woman who the Jews would abstain from. He was open, right? And when I'm talking about being firm but flexible like Christ, we need to be open, open to new ideas, open to new people, right? Some of these young adults that may be coming into our ministries are coming from different backgrounds, you know, coming with different lines of thoughts, right? And they might have some great ideas. Let's be open to them. Let's just be open to these people in general because we love them.
Yes.
And you know, but do not bend the truth. Right. Be firm on the truth. Be sound. You know, and I'm afraid that, you know, we want to often try to, you know, put more flavor into our ministry by doing some things that may go outside the bounds of Scripture.
Right.
But we don't bend it for anyone or anybody.
Yeah. And you don't have to try and be cool to the millennials and stuff.
No.
To the point, they're looking for the substance.
Be authentic.
So just show them. Yeah, I'm convicted.
Yeah.
This is what that looks like.
Right.
Okay, imitate. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
All right. Where do we go from here? What is there? Is there a fourth one?
Yeah.
What are we going
for? we've got being firm but flexible like Christ.
Yes.
We can be patient like Christ.
Patient. There was.
Patient
I knew we had it.
like Christ. You know, building any ministry is going to take time.
Yeah.
Right. And some of us can lose our patience. This is a big one. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I pray for patience often.
Yeah.
You know, and
Be
the
careful.
Lord is not done with me yet. He's giving me opportunities.
He's going to grant
right?
it to you. You know he will.
I'm telling you, and I appreciate him for that. But you know, being patient like Christ. Well, you know, Jesus was dealing with 12 apostles who couldn't be any more different.
That's right.
Any more different
by his choosing.
By his exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Wow. You know, was Jesus partial? You know, he was impartial, right? These people could not be any more different.
Right.
But yet, even with their flaws, even with their fallacies, he was patient with them. You know, when you're working in a young adult ministry in particular, you're going to be dealing with people who are different, dealing with people who have different ideas, right? Different backgrounds to you, all those good things. But yet, we need to be patient. You know, we can be patient like Christ. He gives us a good example. We can take action like Christ. We don't read about a Messiah who was lethargic. We don't read about a Messiah who just twiddled his thumbs and you know, just kicked the rocks down the road and did not take action. No, Jesus took action. We have opportunities, right, to serve or you know, to go down the street and to help out the pantry, you know, fill the pantry. Or we need to take that action. And I feel like sometimes, you know, the opportunities can pass us by because we don't take that action. Yeah. You know, so we can take action like Christ, and lastly, we can love like Christ. 1 Corinthians 16:14, Paul said, you know, he said, let all that you do, let all that you do be done in love. All that you do, right?
It's kind of all-encompassing, isn't it? Yeah. It's one of those surrounding kind of terms. It
is, right? It just puts an umbrella on everything, right? That we do. Let it all be done in love. And Christ definitely showed us that. And so we can imitate Christ throughout our ministry. And you know, the thing is that we want to show people, hey, I really want to point you to God. Yeah. Right? I'm not trying to glorify myself or anything like that. But when I'm imitating Christ and I'm incorporating your ideas, right, I'm showing you, hey, you know, I really care about you and I want to point you and I want to help you stay rooted in the faith. Yeah.
I love the balance. You're showing us both sides. There's the truth and we uphold the truth and we don't compromise the truth. Yeah. But there's the love and the patience part of it. You know, think about 2 Timothy 4:2, preach the word, right? We're all about that. Yep. But it says, reprove, rebuke, exhort with all long suffering and teaching. Patience. Yes. Right?
It's in there.
Long suffering is a part of love. You know, love is patient. 1 Corinthians 13. And yet it is actionable. It's something I have to do. And this is everything you've been talking about. Absolutely. A lot of times frustrations, and especially with sometimes older Christians can be frustrated with younger Christians because we think they ought to know better than what they're doing. Maybe they should, but we meet people where they are and we try and gently lead them along. Exactly. And sometimes you build the relationship where you can say to somebody, get behind me, Satan, like Jesus did with Peter. But at other times, you build the relationship where you say, are you sure this is the road you want to go down? Like Jesus does with James and John.
Yes.
Are you sure you're willing to drink the cup I'm going to drink?
Yeah.
So it takes both. You got a toolkit.
Yes.
You're just working with your toolkit.
Exactly. And, you're able to be more transparent with these people that you're serving when you put in the spiritual deposits. Asking these questions. Are you, like you said, are you sure you want to go down this road? Yeah. Well, somebody that you really haven't invested in, right? Or
they're not going to listen to that.
They're not.
Yeah.
They're not.
Who do you think you are?
They're not going to pay attention to you.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. And it's just like anybody, as a preacher, you might be preaching, preaching good, waxing eloquently. And some of the people that might be listening to you, he doesn't really care about my situation. He hasn't invested in me.
That's right. He wasn't there, whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think that's really key for us to remember. It's not just about, having all this knowledge and, preaching all the hermeneutics, exegesis, and all that stuff like that.
You got a fan off to the side there.
I do. My baby boy, Nico. Hey.
He's coming after it too.
Mama's trying to keep him at bay.
Next episode, we're going to talk about ministering to, 2-year-old toddlers.
Toddlers, energized toddlers. And my wife is pregnant with our baby girl, so man, we're busy.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's so exciting.
Yeah, so you talked about just the member in general,
right.
And you kind of can have this friction, right, between older members and younger members. Yeah. And one of the things I've been talking about is a young adult ministry will help bridge the generational gap that you have, right? Especially if you get the older members involved.
Good.
And so, have some of those older members, see if they can offer any type of insights or offer any kind of help.
This is Titus 2, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. All the way. So having them maybe show young adults how to conduct a Bible study, right? I've had people come to me, young adults, say, I'm just fearful of doing it. Yeah. Well, maybe you put attach a young adult, not a young adult, but an older member to them, say, okay, this is how you do conduct a Bible study, right? Have them go to a Bible study with them, or, maybe giving them tips on, how to, approach different situations. We cannot discount the decades of experience that older members have. And when you have them intertwined with the young adults, right? Getting involved in their lives, you won't have this friction where you have the young adults on one side and the older members on the other. Yeah. We're a family. So everybody needs to come together. And we got to remember that the older members are going to have to pass the baton down at some point.
Yeah.
And so it's best to have them invested early on in the game. And I think the church will be much better off because you don't have these two competing, cultures, if you will, inside the local body.
Right. Yeah. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
We need young adult ministry. The congregation needs it. The young adults obviously need it. It's going to help everybody. It's a great opportunity for involvement. It's a win-win-win-win-win all the way across the board.
It is.
Thank you for talking to us about it a little bit today.
Thank you,
and for the insights you've brought. Investigate, incorporate, imitate. That's what we got to do. It's what it's all about.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. And I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah.
And
I'm glad you're here.
Absolutely. And I just want to end with one more quote here, and I think this is a good one to leave out on.
Yeah.
From an anonymous source. He said, obviously you and I can't fix the economy. We can't fix the church's dropout rate. But there are some things you and I can do, and we had better start doing them. Take stock of anything that is in your power to impact and improve. Take responsibility of it. Take responsibility of it.
Yeah.
That's all we have to do.
That's all we can do, right?
That's it. That's it.
Step up and do what you can.
That's it.
Save to serve. That's
it, brother. That's it. Ephesians 2:8. I love it.
If you're ever in the Charlotte, North Carolina area, stop by and see Ed DeBerry and Dean Thompson and all the great folks at the university congregation there. Yes. I know they'd be glad to have you.
Yes,
it's really good. I'm going to get the DeVries, and I forgot the co-author.
Scott Pontier.
I'm going to get that information from you before we go so that I can put a link in the show notes.
Yes.
Go to thelightnetwork.tv, look for Preachers in Training on the episode on ministering to young adults, and we will have that link in the show notes as well. Hey, don't forget, the Light Network Conference is coming up September 1st through 3rd, 2023 in Henderson, Tennessee. We want you to be a part of it if you can at all. thelightnetwork.tv/conference is where you can register. It's free, but we need you to register and find more information. That's going to do it for this edition of Preachers in Training. We're really thankful that you're a part of our episode today. I can't wait for you to join us, the Lord willing, next week. We got more interviews that are coming. Until then, let's go preach the word.